Yeah. Woo! Oh, look at it.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
G'day, I'm the resident nature nerd at ABC Science. We got plenty of deadly animals here in Australia. So now it's time to look around the world.
Cameron, you dipshit! I told him to go in there!
Today, we're hunting down dangerous urban animals, from home invaders
Where's it at? Baby's getting it! Attack!
to murderous vandals. And I'll be speaking to a man who fought off a killer cat.
You could smell what smelled like just death, like rotted flesh.
I've scoured the internet for the best videos to discover which of these 5 animals are truly deadly.
Where's it at? Baby's getting it! Attack!
They're one of the planet's most hardy and successful species, cockroaches. They are deadly, it's just not their own fault. Ah! That's why the phone wasn't working then. Cockroaches like to live in all sorts of dank hidey holes. No matter who you are or where you're from, they make you scream. Oh no, it's somewhere. You're not. Oh, you're gonna destroy your whole house looking for it. They're great at squeezing into tiny little places. They can flatten themselves out a bit to make sure. I mean, they do often surprise you when they start to fly. As a general rule, cockroaches aren't great flyers. They do have wings, obviously. 2 pairs, in fact. One of those pairs has evolved to be hard, and it actually protects the soft wings that are underneath. That means that their steering and ability to go long distances is hampered.
These cockroaches I decapitated last night.
Okay. This is the most violent episode of How Deadly yet.
And then I went to bed, and this morning, they are still kicking.
So they're not like us, they're not going to bleed out, right? And in fact, if their heads get chopped off, the wound sort of seals over. In each segment, the cockroach has an agglomeration of nerves, and they sort of keep the function going. So even without the brain, it can still, it has a nervous system, and it keeps on sort of running, and if you touched it, it would react. But without a mouth, you go pretty hungry, and they only last about 2 weeks.
When I'm in my living room, I'm walking back and forth. You ever see something moving in your peripheral vision and it wasn't supposed to be there?
We've all been there.
It's gone. I waited too long. I don't know where it's at.
The cat probably ate it.
It was right there when I saw it last time. It was crawling like was normal.
He can't find it because they're amazing at hiding. Cockroaches are able to compress themselves down to fit into tiny little cracks that are maybe a quarter of the overall height of the cockroach. It's a pretty incredible thing to do, especially when you think about the fact they've got an exoskeleton, they're hard on the outside. But that's one of the reasons that engineers like to study insects like cockroaches. These are millions of years of perfect nature wrapped into one creature.
Where's it at? Baby's getting it! Attack! Do your jobs, cats! You jobless little you attack that mother. Find it!
The cat looks like it's used to emotions.
Really?
I hope his food's all open and stuff. So, cockroaches are what we call mechanical vectors. They can move pathogens or disease, things from place to place.
Ah, bitch!
Because they like to crawl around in drains and they like to crawl over our faces and in our toilets and across our food, it's the cross-contamination that is the issue.
We got his ass, though. We got his ass! Oh,
There's one behind him. It's behind you! I don't even know what to say. That's not how to get rid of cockroaches. Did he put petrol on it or something to try and burn them? It's really hard to get rid of cockroaches. They're really adaptable and they've been able to even adapt some of their physiological processes to get around our bait. While we might not like the cockroaches, we can't just wipe them out. There are thousands of species of cockroaches that are absolutely integral to our ecosystem function. They form a part of a little army that ensures that things biodegrade in our systems, that logs end up becoming soil. And without them, we'd just be in a world full of refuse. Next up, it's pumas, the America's powerful wildcat. And these used to be incredibly difficult to find because they're so secretive. But now, in Santiago in Chile, San Francisco, LA, the pumas are roaming the streets. Ah, delivery. So sleek in California, aren't they? Pumas are coming into towns all the way across the Americas, and this is for a number of reasons. The main one being the fact that their habitat is diminishing. They're hungry, they need a place to live, and they're going to come closer and closer into our towns. No!
Oh, my.
Hi. Got a lot of faith in that glass, don't they?
Is that crazy or what?
Oh my God. Where are the kids?
They're out back.
Tommy, are you kidding me?
Shh, you don't scare the cat. They're still in there.
That is not funny. You about to give me a heart attack.
Pumas are sometimes known as mountain lions, and apart from humans, they have the largest geographical range of any mammal in the Americas. They are found all the way from Canada right down to the pointy end of Chile. So there's something like 40 names just in English for this creature. They're known as pumas, cougars, mountain lions, Mexican lions, catamounts, mountain screamers, cat of God. That one's a good one. Whoa, that's the caterwaul. Sounds like she's had a bottle of whiskey and 10 packs of cigarettes. They don't roar. They're not in the big cat family. They're actually more closely related to a domestic cat. They do all sorts of mewls, they purr, whistles, little shrieks, and a famous one, a caterwaul. It'd be terrifying if you heard it and you're out there alone.
Hey! Hey! Go on. Go on. I'm not gonna shoot you. Go.
Look at it considering.
Go on. Hey!
Salivating,
Go on.
smelling, starting to crouch.
Hey!
Oh dear.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Oh, look at it.
You're gonna get me.
Look at it!
Go on! Go on! Oh, go on! Go on!
Oh dear. Ears back. Or is it just because of that stick? Oh no, just having a sit down. Its ears are up and forward, which means it's pretty happy and curious. They can take prey items, sometimes apparently as big as a horse. If you want to know what an aggressive puma looks like, you have to think of an aggressive domestic cat. It will crouch, hiss, put its ears down and flat. It'll reveal its teeth. It'll pump its legs potentially, ready to attack or defend itself. He was doing the right thing, making himself sound very big. Another thing to do is, if you've got a coat on or anything like that, is to open it up and make yourself look very big. If you're with a friend, you can stand together because that makes you look like you're an unassailable mass.
God!
Despite sharing our living areas with pumas, attacks are really quite rare. In Canada and the US, there's only 4 to 6 attacks every year. I spoke with someone who survived an attack.
My first thought was I was so excited. I mean, it's right here. Look at this line. This is beautiful. I had a little knife, so while the line was sitting there gnawing on whatever it was under the tree, I pulled that out. I started folding in the blades, and it made a snap sound that echoed. We were eye to eye. Same, looked me dead in the eyes and launched. Boom! Slammed into me. We landed 10 feet down the mountainside, and the bottom claws all immediately went into my thighs down by my knees to get hold. The top claws, you could hear the pop sounds, pop, 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 pop on each side of my neck. The bottom jaw was just in the top part of my forehead by the hairline. The top jaw was in the back part of my head and just pulled me down like this vice grip. I mean, just the strength, I couldn't move. The strength was so tough. You could smell what smelled like just death, like rotted flesh. It's, the throat was right here. As hard as I could, I started stabbing and digging and just trying to bust open that fur, which was so tough. And the cat obviously didn't care for that. Took 2 swings towards my face, a loud pop and tear sound as it connected 4-inch gash under my left eye. And all I heard was that raking sound, just the with the teeth raking. But that's when everything started flashing through my head. And I knew real quickly that my time was quickly disappearing. And that's when I just scream out, God help me. And I get this awesome adrenaline boost. And I reached over and my thumb shoved into the right eye. It went through the eyelid, around the eyeball to the back muscle. And as hard as I could shove my thumb into its eye, I know that did some damage to him and stunned him enough. I took a swing to the top of the head, and this loud squeal, baby chirp type sound just echoed out of this line. And the claws popped out of my neck and the jaws loosened up, and I threw my head back kind of up out of its range, and I jumped back 10 feet up onto the trail. I'm looking back the whole way, help, please don't chase me. Please don't chase me. Scared to death. And I got down and just get to the bottom and you can have your life back. I don't blame the lion at all. 0. I have the utmost respect for these animals. It literally felt threatened by me, or it felt like I was after its meal, or what have you. My advice would be, know your surroundings, be prepared. Just make sure you can run faster than the person you're hiking with.
That is a lucky break for both him and the puma, perhaps. How did you get in there? Oh, that is phenomenal. It's a pretty good idea. Give it multiple ways to get out and make a sound that makes you sound bigger than you are. Oh, they're not really interested in us, and they're not really interested in your interior decorating either. The thing is that if you invite prey items into your backyard with a water point or a feeding point, you are going to invite predators into your backyard.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
So yeah, they are deadly. So if you see one near your place, thank your lucky stars and call the authorities. We've got even better videos to come, so don't go anywhere. Wild boars are usually roaming forests and grasslands and coming out to annoy farmers and eat all their crops. So what are they doing trotting around the streets? And should we be worried? They live in big family groups led by a matriarch. Lots of grunting going on. Grunting is used for communication within the group, and it's often the females who are grunting. Is it in a clothes shop? Did it fall through the roof? Wild boars are coming in for a myriad of reasons, some of it which is habitat destruction, but also drought. So they come in to find water sources, as well as getting into the rubbish. Look at that hairdo! I actually think they're pretty cute. Am I weird? They're a damn big animal. They've found in their tummies all sorts of stuff, including human-prepared foods, very often like, you know, ham sandwiches, which in turn means that they're getting a bit chubby. And some of the wild boars are like 35% fatter than their cousins, which are living outside the city limits. Woo! Those two guys are like, what? Just open the door. Yeah, oh! Just open the door. Leave the door. That's problem solving for you, right there. It's hard to test the intelligence of wild boar, but what we do know about domesticated pigs is that they are extremely intelligent. Scientists have done all manner of tests about this, including putting mirrors in with pigs. Scientists found that the pigs were not only able to situate themselves, but also use the mirror as a tool to situate other things. And on top of that, when they put the mirrors in, the pigs spent a long time admiring themselves, which I sort of love. Bit of self-love. Now, they spent a long time admiring themselves and actually changing their angles and looking and looking. And as they were doing that, they were actually sort of like calibrating their spatial brain as to what was in the mirror themselves and what else the mirror reflected. So how do you outsmart a wild boar? Ooh! Ooh. Okay. Badly thought through. Did he just bend that on its back? Oh, they're such a ball of muscle, aren't they? Ooh. Apparently not very good eyesight, which that would support. And boop, into the... Whoa, look at that speed! You can see how its tusks would be a real problem once the man fell on the ground. There are many people who get injured and some even die. It almost seems completely disoriented and frenzied, like it doesn't know what to do. And because they all keep on moving and posing a problem and being like really intimidating, it just keeps on going and winning. So what to do if a wild boar comes towards you? Keep your footing. Get up high if you possibly can, up onto a car or in a tree, something like that really helps. And make sure you give it an escape route. Otters! They are cute and curious. Are they also murderous?
He's right there. Hey, get the paddle. Let's go around the other side.
The otter is clearly saying go away. I mean, you don't have to be an otter expert to know that that otter's upset.
He's protecting his babies. Cameron, you dip. I told him to go in there.
Yeah, I'm with her. You're a dip.
I should run back.
Oh!
Hugging with mom. Let me see. Let me zoom out just a little tiny bit.
This is what I believe we call super cute.
That pup there on mom.
So these are sea otters. Sea otters actually spend almost all of their time at sea, in the water. In fact, the females will even give birth in the water and suckle their young and pull them up onto their chest. So it isn't unusual to see them sleeping on the water.
Yep.
Unlike other seagoing mammals like seals, they don't have a layer of blubber to protect them from the cold. They have this amazing fur. They have the most dense fur of any animal on the planet. To 1 inch square, it's up to 1 million hair follicles.
Put her hand on his mouth.
God, I can't even believe they're real. How cool is that? Back in 1977, there was a big campaign in Singapore to clean up the harbour, and it has worked. Even though it's a big, super city, the otters have been able to recolonise back into Singapore. And there are 10 families of otters that live in the city limits. People know them by name. Where are you going with that? One of the things that the Singapore otters have been doing is stealing koi out of ponds. It is a big fish. And these little guys use a lot of energy every day, so much so that they need to eat 25% of their body weight in fish and shellfish every single day. So this is a real conservation success story in some ways, that these smooth otters are able to live, to cohabitate with humans in such a densely populated environment. It is an otter, kid.
Where'd my camera go?
Otters don't generally attack people. There's generally a reason. You might not know that you've antagonised the otter, but you may well have antagonised the otter. You may be too close to its babies. It might be rabid. All of the normal suspects. But then there is a couple of stories about otters that make you go, Sea otters in particular have a very poor reputation when it comes to the manner in which they copulate. A study found that of 105 otters that were found deceased, 11 of those otters had injuries that would have been inflicted during mating or copulation. It goes a little bit further with sea otters in particular, though, because they have been observed fornicating with deceased juvenile harbour seals. Yeah. So you thought otters were cute, eh? So yeah, otters can be unexpectedly violent, but generally it's aimed at critters that are smaller than the otters themselves. Doesn't mean you're not going to get run at by an otter at some point, and if you do, just clear out. Rats have a reputation for spreading disease, but in modern times, are they really that bad? Is the cat going to help? Oh, the cat! The cat's scared. Oh! He squashed his cat, the bastard! It's so funny, it's not a jaguar, it's a tiny little rat. And it just creates such a big hullabaloo for humans. Even if you only see one at a time, it's probably not one rat. A female rat can produce 4 to 7 litters every single year, and each of those litters can have up to 10 individual babies in it. So that's like 40 to 70 individual rats out there. So you can see why when the conditions are really good, these rats can just explode in population and take over a whole area. If a rat can make it anywhere, it's going to be in New York. In 2014, in New York City, there was 1 rat for every 4 humans. It's like 2 million rats. It's a lot of rats. There's this study where they looked inside deceased rats' stomachs to see what they'd been eating, and they found that inside this rat, there were 4,000 different items that it had eaten. It's one of the themes of animals that can make it in the city is the fact that they have really diverse diets and can get by on a slice of pizza. Oh, God. They're not without chops. You've got to give them that. Things can turn a little bit nasty. They can get really bold and even turn cannibalistic in order to get by. Another thing that's really fascinating in New York is that there's like the uptown rats and the downtown rats. There's genetic diversion. The rats that overtake New York are brown rats. We do have them here in Australia, but we've also got a whole suite of our own native rats. Swamp rats, bush rats, hopping mice, desert ones, dusky ones. My favourite animal in Australia is a water rat. They are the best rat, hands down, paws down. They eat crayfish and crabs and catch fish with their bare hands. They get out and sit on little rocks and groom themselves and their big long whiskers. They teach their young to hunt. It's thought that water rats, Australian native rats, will actually keep out pest rats and scare them away. They're like Australia's otters, but without the necrophilia.
Yo, welcome to Generation X, where kids walk with 2 sets strapped to their chest. Not a test.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Standing up. Having rats in your food preparation area is definitely not ideal. They carry about 35 different diseases that can affect either you or your pets. Things like salmonella or tularemia.
Let me introduce you to the pimp game when I switch lanes.
There's a heap of ways that you can catch diseases from animals like rats, including getting bitten, unsafe handling or disposal of dead rats, rat urine or excreta on plates, unsafe preparation of food that's been nibbled by rats and then eaten by humans. To get rid of rats around your house, you need to make it the opposite of ratty heaven. Nowhere to hide, no food to eat, and they're not going to stop at your house. Hiya! Woo! As soon as it stopped acting like prey, the cat stopped treating it like prey. God, cats are funny. So rats can be affected by a toxicity that affects your brain function, and they develop a sort of unnatural and probably unwise attraction to the smell of cat wee. So it's bizarre, right, that a rat would be attracted towards cats. But the smart thing about this is that for the pathogen that caused the toxoplasmosis to actually replicate, it needs to happen inside the gut of a cat. So essentially, this pathogen that's infecting the rat leads it like a Pied Piper directly to the source and says, here you go, eat this. And then into the tummy it goes. Look, it's chasing it down the street. Rats and the pathogens that they carry are dangerous, but they're an inescapable part of living in a city. Cities aren't biological wastelands. They're full of intelligent species, super secretive predators, and near-perfect organisms that are going to make the best of whatever we throw at them. So as our urban creep gets bigger and bigger, it's us We're the ones that need to find a way to live harmoniously with the animals around us. See you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. I also host a shorter version of this series, which is only about Australian animals, like magpies. You should be able to find it somewhere here. And remember, subscribe because we upload new videos every week. That way you won't miss out on them, and I'll see you then.